Hello, fabulous superstar Cancer. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of February 2025. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological month, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Boys, at a very special time, and it truly is so special now. Powerful energies are with us. And it is going to be on the 4th of the month that Jupiter goes direct. Jupiter has been retrograde since the first days of October 2024. And now with Jupiter finally moving forward, this is representative of an unleashing of positive energy. Now, for you, this is Jupiter moving direct in the sign just before yours, representing what's happening on levels of soul, psyche, and spirit. But this is also part of the sky that has to do with good karma, karmic blessings with Jupiter here, and fortunate karmic closures become possible here as well. It's this unleashing of positive energy that helps you to feel like energetically you're moving forward and towards more, towards better. And you absolutely are. Now that Jupiter starts to move forward, Jupiter's going to gain traction and march right into your sign in June. And so this is a time of fortunate closures and creating space for the new and the next to find you. And there's this brand new chapter that's right around the corner where you feel launched in new directions and a new understanding of self. There's a lot to look forward to here, and it's all really exciting. And so, I like to say, pace yourself and be yourself. Well, right now, you really want to remember that. You might just need more rest. There might be a deeper sense of spiritual connection playing out, a feeling of being able to access spiritual wisdom. It flows that much more easily for you at this time. And the best stuff, especially as Jupiter changes directions, is likely to just show up. The 7th of February has a rare meeting in the sky of Neptune and the North Node. These two planets get together about every 17 years or so, so it's somewhat of a rare connection. And when it takes place, it is the North Node that represents a doorway. A planet moving over it opens up that doorway from which new people, places, things, situations enter, which represent karmic blessings. This is a meeting happening in a worldly part of your sky, having to do with long distance travel, immigration, citizenship, higher learning, legal matters. It has to do with feeling as if the world opens up to you figuratively or literally. It is about publishing, about stepping up to a bigger stage than you've known before, and about having an understanding of what you could put into place that will help you to manifest bigger and better in the fullness of time. Now, more personally, this has to do with the beliefs that help you to make sense of the world and guide your life. Neptune is dreamy. It is filled with hope, but it's also a planet that represents miracles. If you are involved in an ongoing matter having to do with some of the areas I just mentioned, like a legal matter, higher education matter, this is where it can feel as if that pathway just opens up that much more and you're moved forward in positive directions. Resolutions or the right help can find you at this time. And for some, it might feel like miraculously so. Some opportunity, some blessing just presents itself to you. Now, this idea of stepping up on a bigger stage becomes that much more likely if it is that what you do has anything to do with any type of art, whether that's digital, whether that's performing, whether that's visual or music, or if it has to do with healing, which is a very broad umbrella, I know. But these types of endeavors in particular, just attracting people who can help you forward along these pathways towards greater opportunities here becomes certainly a possibility for you now. The 12th of the month features this month's full moon. And this full moon takes place in a financial part of your sky. Now, here's the thing. This full moon is speaking in a conversation of tension with Uranus. Actually, it's part of a larger T-square configuration, which can mean some wild card factor, something that feels frustrating. And I know that's not fun when it comes to financial matters, certainly. However, what we also have here is this full moon speaking in supreme harmony with Chiron. And Chiron right now is moving through the top of your sky, having to do with higher ups, career, and life purpose. And it's here that the blessings are. And so this is very possibly some financial growth or opportunity. And it's going to be oriented around or rooted in career progress. However, the thing to remember with that is it becomes more likely this is the case if you work within a healing profession. Now, that's a really broad umbrella. A lot of it is about how you interpret and understand what you do. But if you see yourself as a healer, well, understanding how you can go about creating prosperity and how you're going to define prosperity from that place, well, that becomes a natural way in which you can find blessings are able to come forward. However, that connection with Uranus, I mean, it kind of reminds me of, how progress comes out of necessity, basically. And yeah, it could be very quickly. There's a surprise, I'm sorry to say, expense that might come up. It might be a surprise opportunity as well that feels as if this is really weird or really different. I don't know how I feel about this. It might have you scrambling in some way as well as you seek to align yourself with greater prosperity. Now, other Cancerians might not experience this energy financially at all, but rather it's going to play out a lot more having to do with your understanding of healthy self-love and healthy self-esteem. That comes into focus. It's illuminated in some way, and it ends up being quite the surprise, but ultimately positively cleansing. As you reach a turning point moment that ultimately aligns you with a greater sense of rootedness and healthy self-love going forward from here. The 23rd of the month is a massively important moment for you, and that is because that is the day that Mars goes direct. Now, I know I've been speaking to you about this energy I'm thinking about over in the Superstar space on my website, and of course here on YouTube as well. I've been talking to you about this Mars retrograde season, how important it is for you, and this is a mighty important moment. You will feel your energies shift or change in some way, become liberated, and feel yourself able to move forward where you didn't realize you were stagnant, where you didn't realize that you could feel a lot better, a lot more energetic. Here you are, and in an instant, you start to feel energized and like you can move forward. So whether this shows up in terms of your understanding of where you can move forward on a matter in your life or near and dear to your heart, on a matter that has to do with you being yourself and moving forward from that place. But it could also be just related to your own vitality, your own energy. That's what starts to feel a whole lot more liberated and like there's progress on that front. It is Saturn that's holding tight a supremely harmonious connection with Mars at this time, and that allows you to feel like the gains that you make, they're steady, they're strong, and they have the potential to last a really long time to come. Make no mistake, you are likely to feel this shift. I think there are going to be some Cancers where in an instant they feel themselves and know themselves differently in a way that might feel unexpected, but ultimately will be very welcome. It restores a sense of energy, giving you that much more to move forward with. The 27th of the month brings with it this month's new moon in fellow water sign Pisces. Again, we've got this worldly part of the sky just opening up for you. Now, it is here that this new moon will be speaking in a conversation of tension with Jupiter. But also will be in alignment with Mars as well, of supreme harmony. So I love that Mars connection. It's about feeling awakened and energized with the spirit of adventure. That's part of what this new moon energy represents, some new adventure feeling open to you. Normally we think of squares of Jupiter as representing overconfidence or overshooting the mark in some way. But this is Jupiter in the sign before yours, so it's almost like you don't even realize that's what you're doing. But for all that, this could also represent tiredness, being way overly estimating what's possible, where is possible, what you could do, what you want to do, and you end up tiring yourself out. If it is that you are doing any kind of traveling, you may want to take that into account. There might be factors there you haven't considered, or it might just be that you feel downright antsy at this time and ready to get out into the world in some way. This part of the sky also having to do with all those things we talked about earlier, because this is where Neptune meets the North Node. So immigration, citizenship, higher learning, and legal matters, they might come into focus at this time. If you're looking at initiating something new, understand that you may be seeing things way more optimistically or missing some key details that actually could be really important. So just keep that at the forefront of your mind with any sense of what it is that you might want to initiate now. For example, you might think embracing a brand new legal process is going to lend itself to a windfall. However, you may need a more measured perspective to truly understand that pathway forward. It could also be that if you are hoping for access to an institute of higher learning, well, that too, it could be that you are expecting enthusiasm and horns and people ringing bells and wearing hats and great happiness and enthusiasm that you would join them, when it's probably a better idea to be more measured in your approach and in your understanding of how it is that you might want to move forward there. So pace yourself and be yourself. You know, I like to say that, but understand that this can represent a time when you're encouraged to see yourself and your life more expansively, to understand that there are greater adventures yet to come, and to allow yourself to dream, knowing that in their own time, they'll have a way of coming together for you. Now, where it comes to matters of love, on the 28th of January, just before we started this month, Venus stepped into shadow. And it is going to be on the 4th of this month that Venus changes signs, moving out of that worldly part of your sky, moving forward into the top of your sky, and will, at the start of next month, go retro. Now, I'll be here to talk about this every step of the way. There'll be a Venus retrograde special horoscope. Be on the lookout for that. And I spoke about this in the year ahead special horoscopes, and some of that is here on YouTube. Other stuff is in the superstar space or on my website, nadiyashah.com. But having said that, I'm going to talk to you about this every step of the way as we go along. Here's the thing I want to say. It is the first part of this shadow period that we have Venus in a philosophical part of your sky. And it's like love and what you believe love should be philosophically or more idealistically is part of what comes into focus. But once Venus changes signs on the 4th of this month, slows down, stands still at the end of the month, preparing to go retro, this is where love and respect become intimately tied. You can't have one without the other. And it is here as Venus steps into this part of the sky in the first days of this month, Venus will very quickly move into harmonious alignment with Pluto. And this ends up being very important, sort of a saving grace of an energy, if you will. An energy that feels as if it infuses that much more passion into the mix, that much more intensity, and your desire to know, love, and respect together feels that much more strong, that much more of an imperative for you. For all that, though, remember, the path that Venus is walking, this is the path she's going to retrograde over. Then once she goes direct in the spring, it's the path that she's going to go direct over for a third time. Whatever's happening now, you just might come to see it very differently as we navigate further into the spring. And so pace yourself and be yourself. You know, I like to say that. But for all that, for those of you open to meeting someone new, well, at least as we start the month, there's this sense of adventure, of the possible, and maybe an international love that feels like it calls you. But once Venus changes signs, you're really thinking big picture. And you're wanting to connect with people who are feeling as if they're going in the direction you are. But I also think this is about raising your standards in some way, being aware of where perhaps in the past you accepted less than you deserved. Now you might see all of that differently in some way. It's about moving onward in a sense, but it's also about reaffirming some wisdom, some knowing that you can consider that love can be more than it has been before. And where that more aligns with respect, well, that's when your considerations really are on the right track. Now, for all that, in a practical sense, be mindful. Bosses, people in positions of authority, people who've achieved something you admire, you desire to achieve for yourself, these are the types of romantic possibilities that could be there. For those of you just starting to date someone, well, is this person long-term material or not? Whether they are or not, you just might convince yourself that they are. That's the kind of energy I see, especially once it is that Venus moves into the top of your sky and aligns with Pluto about a week into this month. So pace yourself and be yourself. You know, I like to say that. What seems really obvious may actually be something very different once we navigate further after the whole official retrograde and we still got shadow. That's when things start looking different. So yeah, pace yourself, but also know that you're going for something big picture. You're wanting something long term that might take you by surprise depending on your unique circumstances. But if you can, keep that at the forefront as part of figuring out the next best steps for you. And for those of you in an established bond, I do think that Venus moving into the top of your sky ultimately is about uniting you in terms of a shared vision and shared goals that you might have. Where relationships are good, you might be revisiting some shared vision or goals from the past and reawakening them, feeling yourselves inspired by them now over again. However, for a small percent out there, if you felt for a while that you might not be in the right relationship for you, that really is going to be the guiding question. Is this person going where you are? And it may not necessarily be the time to have a definitive answer, but it is a time that's meant to show you something about what direction it is that you desire to go, what respect and love together looks like for you. And it's part of a consideration of asking yourself how important that is and whether or not you have that. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. I'm going to say I love, well, there's a few things here, but I think Jupiter going direct is a really big deal of an energy. That is going to free up a sense of blessings just finding you out of nowhere. However, for you, Mars going direct, that's gotta be the bigger thing because this is about what you feel. It's about your energy in an instant feeling released and energized and excited about what you can do. The empowerment that you are now aware of, that you can seize to direct your life in the direction you desire to go. Well, thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with Choose Your Membership rate over at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com or thefutureismagical.com. Now, higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. I also want to add that I do have a very limited number of consultations available. You can learn a lot more about getting a consultation with me or with Andy of Wise Ass Astrology. Yes, you can book a consultation with him as well over on my website. Just check out the consultation tab and links are below. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.